What is up, Panther fans, haters, bandwagoners, and Atlanta Falcons fans that just happen to click on this video? So today, I'm going to do a Week 2 preview of what I think is going to happen in our Week 2 matchup. And I'm going to do it pretty similarly to the way I did the Dallas Cowboys video, in that I'm going to go over 5 facts that I believe will play a huge role in determining the outcome of the game and who will win, who will lose. Now, it's no secret that we don't match up very well against the Atlanta Falcons, winning only 2 of our last 6 matchups over the past 3 years. And for whatever reason, we also just can't seem to win in Atlanta. But with this matchup being pretty early on in the season, we'll see if we can get in a win early on. If you're subbed to my channel, you know I don't like using superstition or past games where none of the players are even involved anymore. So, as I did with Dallas, I'm going to break this down into 5 facts that I believe will decide the factor of who wins this game. Now, number 1 is going to have to be the matchup of Julio Jones and James Bradberry. Now, we have a huge history of not being able to guard Julio Jones, right? Until Josh Norman came in 2015 and we had him finally as a shutdown corner, but then literally lost to the next year and had Julio Jones burn us for 300 yards. Now, James Bradberry has shown flashes of greatness, especially in his rookie year, but he did have a bit of a sophomore slump. I'm hoping he can come in and put it all together his 3rd year and finally be able to guard Julio Jones and Mike Evans and Michael Thomas, you know, the number 1 wide receivers in our division. Now, the thing is, Sarkisian seems to like to set Julio Jones in motion, so more than likely, if James Bradberry is playing the weak side of the field, then he's going to be motioned out to the other side where Ross Cockrell is playing, or he could have him in the slot where he's going to be playing against Dante Jackson. Either way, wherever they put him, it's going to be a huge nightmare matchup where he's not being played against James Bradberry, either in terms of speed, size, or both. Also, got to watch out for those shallow crossing routes, which Sarkisian likes to do a lot with Julio, and that seems to be where he gets a lot of his yardage from. Now, for my second point, I think Matt Ryan is going to struggle against our front 7, just like any other quarterback would. Now, we added some really needed young depth at the linebacker position, and we also hugely upgraded Star Lotulelei with Dontari Poe at the defensive tackle position. So we're going to be getting a lot of pressure up the middle. Now, these 2 nose tackles are going to make it very hard for them to run the ball up the middle against us. So expect a lot of jet sweeps and runs to the outside, especially with Tevin Coleman and his ability to get the edge on the outside. However, my biggest point also comes to the fact that I don't think Sarkisian is even half the coordinator that Kyle Shanahan was. Like, this dude, it seems like his entire game plan is just throw it to Julio, double coverage, triple coverage, doesn't fucking matter, throw it to Julio. Whereas Shanahan, he seemed to get everybody involved, from the fullback to Taylor Gabriel to fucking Austin Hooper. Like, Matt Ryan was throwing to like 8 different pass catchers throughout the 2016 season. So unless Sarkisian gets some better play calling and actually manages to score in the red zone, I don't see them scoring too many points on our defense. Now, for my 3rd point, the Atlanta Falcons secondary is elite. Alright, there is just no getting around it. I would honestly compare them to the Legion of Boom and their ability to run tight man coverage and swarm the ball, get pass breakups, get interceptions. They also moved Vic Beasley from linebacker to defensive end, where he can reliably get sacks, which is what he's best at. However, with the loss of Courtney Upshaw, Dontari Poe, and Adrian Claiborne, it really cuts into the solid rotational depth that the Atlanta Falcons had, which really contributed to their D-line's ability to get sacks and get pressure. We'll have to see if Takk McKinley can come in full-time and handle the majority of snaps at the edge position. Overall, I don't think their pressure will be good as it was last year, especially towards the later half of the game when everyone else is tired. But do not mistake, the Atlanta Falcons secondary is elite, and they just added Justin Bethel, all-pro cornerback from fucking Arizona Cardinals. They added a flurry of other rotational cornerbacks as well that are unnamed, and they added my favorite, Isaiah Oliver, out of Colorado, and he is going to be a real problem throwing up against. He'll more than likely be guarding our number 1 receiver, whether it be Devin Funchess or DJ Moore, and his long arm span is going to make it really difficult to get the ball out to them. Now, for my 4th point, like us, the Atlanta Falcons have a extremely stud inside linebacker in Deion Jones, who's really coming into his own right now, and he was fantastic last year. He's fast, he's got great awareness, and running up the middle is going to be a real challenge against him. He's able to keep up with the faster, quick twitch guys like Christian McCaffrey, so getting to that second level past the linebackers is going to be pretty difficult. Now, I believe we're going to have to do a lot of runs to the outside, misdirection plays, end arounds, make them question what we're going to do. Keep them honest like we did last year, and keep them on their toes. That's where we're going to get our big chunk yardage from. Now, like I said, because of their elite secondary, if we're going to get chunk yardage, it's more than likely going to be through the ground, which, with our stable of running backs and Cam Newton is not going to be difficult. And luckily, we also had a massive upgrade at running back with the replacement of CJ Anderson against Jonathan Stewart, who's night and day better at pass catching, run blocking, and just overall finding the hole and hitting it and getting to the second level. The awesome thing about CJ Anderson is his versatility. You don't know if we're going to pass, if we're going to run, or if he's going to be using dump off, screen passes. With Stewart, because of his brick hands, everyone knew what the hell we were going to do last year. He had no versatility. He was predictable AF. So Anderson really completely changes the way that we run the ball and the way we play offense. Now, my fifth point leads me to our last game in Atlanta, week 17 last year, where the Panthers' starting offense on the receivers end was Russell Shepard, Kalen Clay, Brenton Burson, and a one-armed Devin Funchess. So obviously, our depth chart is not anything like that at all. In fact, the only person who's still on that receiving core is Devin Funchess, and his shoulder seems to be back in full health, so I'm really excited about that. Now, obviously, like I mentioned before, our running game has also improved tremendously, and Christian McCaffrey will be coming into his second year, so expect him to be a lot better than he was last year. He seems to have bulked up, so I think he's going to have a way better time at running in between the tackles. Not to mention, we had shitty old Mike Shula last year, right? Calling our plays. It was like having a dog with his balls cut off running our offense, and that's terrible. Now we got the North Turner running it, and he seems to know what he's doing with weapons that he's added. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Over the offseason, our skill position has gotten fast, talented, and experienced. Now, if Cam has time in the pocket, man, I got confidence that he can fit those throws into those windows that their tight DBs are going to be forcing us into. Now, given these 5 facts, I think we have a pretty damn good shot at beating Atlanta in week 2, honestly. Their team stays relatively the same. Obviously, they have Calvin Ridley on the offensive side of the ball now, but I really wonder if Sarkisian is going to even be able to implement him properly, given that Atlanta already had all the weapons in the league last year that they could want. And Isaiah, while going to be an extremely talented shutdown corner, I believe, he's still a rookie, and he's more than likely going to see less than 30% of the snaps towards the start of the season, especially given how elite Atlanta's secondary is between... he's going to be splitting time between Justin Bethel and Desmond Trufant, and he still has to take time to learn their scheme. So I'm not too worried about Isaiah Oliver being a shutdown corner for them. Now, I think Atlanta's pass rush is going to hit as hard and hit as fast early on, but I think it'll taper off towards the end of the game, and we all know how Atlanta does towards the end of games, right? Now, I also believe our skill position guys match up way better than they did against Atlanta last year, because we had like zero talent last year on the offensive side of the ball. And also with the addition of CJ Anderson, it's going to completely transform our running game, and we're going to have great time in the pocket for Cam, because he was rated the best running back in pass protection last year. Now, this will definitely be a close game, but I think we finally start scoring in the red zone and we pull it out in Atlanta, finally. My prediction is we start out the season 1-1, 1 loss to Dallas, 1 win at Atlanta. Now, stay tuned, guys, for my next video. It will be coming up next week. Peace.